ANKR hits an all-time high. Let's jump into it. So Chris, fantastic news with ANKR. Yet again, they've set a new all-time high, and we've seen a high, Chris, so far today of 18.45 cents. So phenomenally well. I think that's about 27% as we record this video, and it's doing incredibly well for one of those low cap coins that was inevitable that it was going to pop to the upside. So we're going to get into this in a little bit more detail. We'll have a little bit look at the technical analysis for ANKR to see if there's still more room to the upside or whether or not a correction is going to be due. If you find this video useful and informative, do go ahead and hit that like button. We both really do appreciate that. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you're not yet subscribed, then do go ahead and subscribe. You're going to be kept up to date with all of the gems that we talk about here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you're into making money, why not subscribe? You will be kept well informed. Right, Chris, is there anything else you'd like to, leave the audience with before we jump over to the desktop and get into this thing?
No, I mean, we've been talking about ANKR for, well, it feels like a long time. It isn't, but, it was less than 1 cent when we were first talking about it. And look at it now. It's doing phenomenal things. So, yeah, Nick, let's just get into it, mate.
Fantastic. Right. So here we are, coin market cap, and we can see that we are actually still pushing quite high at the moment here. So ANKR to the USD here, and we can see it's 18 cent right now. The high that was set was 18.4, and we have a market cap now of $1.2 billion. And that to you guys might seem also still incredibly small. And it is still tiny, and there's still plenty of room to the upside overall during this 2021 bull market. We have 6.9 billion coins in circulation supply, so still a reasonable amount, but significantly lower than some of those other coins such as Cardano or even XRP and XLM. So it has a serious ability here to multiply quickly and very, very fast through this 2021 bull run. The maximum supply is only 10 billion tokens, so we're 70% of the way through that. And as money flows into this space, we're going to see ANKR do some phenomenal things in terms of price. Obviously, Chris, above and beyond the price of ANKR, ANKR is a phenomenal project. Do you want to kind of talk to the guys a little bit around what ANKR is and what they do for the space?
Yeah, I mean, we've done a video on it, so check the channel. So I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's Internet 3.0. It's like the next big craze. Everyone's talking NFTs. I kind of feel like this is the next sort of NFT sort of, craze, I guess. It's that piece that, in my opinion, is going to definitely support with bringing more mainstream people into crypto. It's that next step. So we're early on this one. We were even earlier when we were talking about it at less than a cent. But now with the Coinbase listing, all that sort of stuff, it's the time to talk about it now, and really sort of push out the content for us, because it is a great project. They're integrated immensely with a number of really big projects in the space, and we like that because it's much harder to decouple projects when they're intertwined. So they're supporting with nodes and all sorts of different things. So yeah, a fantastic project. Go do your research. We've done videos on this. What is it? Would we invest and stuff like that? And obviously, clearly, we would.
We would, yeah. Right, let's take a look at this. Right, so here we are with ANKR to the USDT. This is the daily chart, and we're using Binance here for our data source. We have a Fibonacci retracement tool on here, and you can see how we've already taken out that real top level there. So if we zoom in here, I'm just going to give you a bit of the highlights, right? We'll just expand this up a little bit so you can see that Fibonacci in a bit more detail. We have the low level here selected from the 27th of January, and we rode that up to this high point that you see here, which was the 22nd of February. Since then, we had that consolidation down, coming down to the 382, hitting the 50% on the way back up, taking out the 618, 702, 789, and then we're straight on out of here. Now, if I zoom on out and just pull this down a little bit, we can see how this thing progressed. We progressed out of this previous high area and took out that first price target. That price target was 6.1 cent, and we kind of consolidated down here for a little bit. and kind of traded sideways. That trading of sideways here meant that we corrected the volumes, corrected the RSI, and that allowed us to really take the next step. The next step took out that price point of 9.4 pretty quickly. Bitcoin corrected, the very next day, unfortunately, but nonetheless, we had serious momentum that pushed us right back up and took out the very next price point of 12.6. And today is where things get really interesting. We took out that last one at 14.7, and we are still setting this thing going miles higher than people may have thought previously. So it's doing really well so far. Now, if I just zoom on back out and just shoot on down here, we can see how this volume has really come in to support things as of late. We had that initial kind of volume up here, the consolidation, the initial spike back up, the consolidation again, the spike up, and now most recently it's actually cooling back down again. So, the fact of the matter is the volume's actually all very positive volume. It's buying volume. It may be decreasing. That means that we're going to run out of steam eventually, but it's not too surprising considering that the RSI is indicating to us that we are overbought, which means ultimately there's only really one way to go from that particular position, and that is going to be to the downside in the short term. So we'll kind of have to expect this to come back down at some point in order to get this corrected. But if that volume continues to decrease, we can protect the price whilst that happens. So things are interesting on this daily chart, Chris, because ultimately we are very, very high up here. And we're going to be able to reset the Fibonacci tool to see how high this thing can continue going. And we'll know that once we get the correction that's going to be due with this RSI being so high. And once we have that top, we can reset and see where the future may actually sit with ANKR. So do watch out for that video in the coming days. Now, Chris, if we pull this into the 4-hourly view, this is going to give us that little bit more detail as to what exactly is going on. So in the same way that we see the daily chart, Chris, the RSI is also overbought. Okay, so again, being as high as we are up here, we are going to have a correction to the downside soon. Now you can see also the volumes have been increasing very nicely over the previous few hours, but the big macro view is still the declining volume over time. So we do have to understand exactly what is going on there. With that being said, we'll have to see how these next few candles are forming and whether that volume is going to increase continuously or actually start to dwindle back down. So we're going to be watching that closely. And of course, we're still pushing very nicely here to set all-time highs. So I don't think the buying pressure has eased at all at this point. So things are looking good and interesting on the 4-hourly chart. So with that said, let's jump down and take a look at that 1-hourly view. The 1-hourly view actually shows us some of the nice kind of consolidation periods and the spikes in volume. And most recently, over the last 3 hours, the volumes have been decreasing. We're only just about overbought here on the hourly chart, but that does indicate that all three of those are aligned. We're overbought on the daily, we're overbought on the 4-hourly as well as this hourly chart. So ultimately, we are going to run out of steam shortly. I imagine that we've got a little bit left in the tank, but after that, we're going to have to decrease this line into this nice cooler area down here on this RSI. And whilst that happens, I would imagine that we're going to have a bit of a back test, maybe even down to that previous higher price target of ours, which would come in at about 14.7 cents. So we're going to be watching that and seeing if that is going to be acting as our support zone going forward. So we're going to have to watch that and see. But we are expecting this thing to come back down. And we're going to be aiming for somewhere between 40 and 30 on this RSI, on this hourly chart. And that may be very different to how low it will go on the 4-hourly or the daily. So with that being said, let's jump down or back up, I should say, to the daily view. So with a corrected RSI on the hourly down towards that 40 or 30 zone, I would imagine that actually the RSI would settle around 50 or so on the daily view. So we'll have this thing potentially come down to about here before maybe having another attempt to the upside. And if we can get it that low with a dwindling volume and protecting the price up here, I'm thinking that a back test on that 14.7 cent is going to be a key area for us to watch out for. So if you're new to to ANKR and you're thinking maybe where is the entry point, for me that is where I am focusing my attention, 14.7 cent. With that being said, it may never get that low, and we will have to adjust as everything accordingly. Depending on how things play out. But for right now, things are very interesting. We are overbought on all of those charts I just went through. That's the daily, the 4-hourly, and the hourly chart. And we cannot stay up there forever. So there's only one place to go from the top, and that is unfortunately to the downside. So a correction is going to be due in order to correct that. The volumes are decreasing, and that's a good thing when we were expecting us to go down, because ultimately that's going to protect the price the best it can. So I am looking out for 14.7 cents to potentially, accumulate a little bit more and add to my bag. As we always say, Chris, there's going to be blood in the streets. It's coming, and we kind of see it happening.
Yeah, buy the fear.
Buy the fear.
My motto.
So, anything else you'd like to add, Chris?
No, just a solid project, and looking forward to seeing bigger YouTubers talking about it, because it's coming, guys. It's coming.
Yes, our little channel here, we've been talking about Anchor for a while. It's a fantastic project. They do some fantastic things for the space, and do your own research, guys. Dig deep. Don't just pay attention to what 1 or 2 or even 3 different YouTubers are saying about a project. It's important that you do that research and come to your own conclusions. With that being said, if you have found this video useful and informative, do hit that like button. We both really do appreciate that. And if you want to know about, hidden gems, learn about new cryptocurrencies, and make money, then why not go ahead and subscribe? By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And it's free, so you'll be kept informed. Why not? Right, with that said, we hope everyone has a fantastic day, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Yeah, take care, everyone.